Thank you for listening to the BjjBrick Podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
All right, here we are, episode 48 of the BjjBrick Podcast. I'm here with Gary.
How's everybody doing today?
Well, I'm doing good.
Well, I'm glad you're doing good. I was actually asking how our listeners are doing today.
Oh, well,
and hopefully somebody in the background saying, I'm doing good.
They have their headphones in, they're walking around, and they say, good.
Yeah, and then somebody's looking at them like, huh? But hey.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's all about having fun.
Well, I'm Byron. We've got heavyweight black belt. His name is Yuri Simões. He's here today to talk with us about his career, what's going on with him, his competition, and he'll also give you guys a lot of good advice about training and developing your own game plan. So it's a really great interview, guys. It's good to learn about him, and it's good to get advice from such a high-level competitor. He had a little bit of controversy, but he was in the news a little bit when he defeated Lovato Jr. for the second time. So that was interesting. And check out the matches, guys. They're worth watching. See two high-level, very closely contested matches, like real competitive. Gary, we've got a quote of the week from Brian Marvin, our last week's interview. So we think we should go ahead and play that. Is that a good idea?
I think that's a good idea. Let's hit Brian Marvin's quote now.
All right, here we go.
Well, the only real quote that I talk about all the time is ABCs, always be choking. If you can maintain a good position at all times, always be trying to attack the neck. I talk about that a lot, and then, with the kids and even with the adults, what am I doing with my elbows? Super gluing them to my body. So those are the two big things when it comes to jiu-jitsu-wise.
Cool. And I like how you say that if you can maintain a good position, you're going to always be choking. You're not, trying to choke the guy when he's on mount. You've got to get the position first to start that. But that's
right. When I'm in side control on top, I'm looking for that little paper cutter choke. When I'm turtle on top behind, I'm looking for the lapel underneath right away. So anytime that I can be in an attacking position, not in a defending position, and trying to choke somebody, I'm always going to be trying to do it.
And even if you're not thinking you'll finish with it, man, it throws everybody off. Like,
yeah,
I have to defend my neck.
Thinking about the fact that your neck is getting choked, you tend to forget about what your hips are doing.
Yeah. That's good. I like it. That's good advice. Always be choking.
Always be choking. Great
advice. Definitely, in a position, you get a dominant position, you're always looking to choke.
Yeah.
And I like what he said right there at the end is when I'm choking your neck, you're not thinking about your hips. So even if the guy is defending a little bit, you're solidifying your position even more.
Yeah, and even if you don't expect to finish the choke, it's a major distraction. And if they ignore it, you might be able to finish the choke. They have to. It needs to be a solid enough choke to where that if it's not addressed by them, that it could be turned up and you could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because, if it's like just your hand on their neck and you're pushing in, how much can you turn that up? But if you have the collar or you've got a little, a choke that's not quite real tight yet, but it can become a legitimate choke, and you're starting to tighten it in and he's not reacting, start turning it up.
Yeah. I tell you what really scares me, though, is Brian's talking about side control, the paper cutter choke. If you're turtled on top, he's looking for the lapel.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've rolled with Brian many times, and I've never even seen those because I've never got past his arm triangle, his darce, and his triangle. So I've been choked out many times, but not with those chokes, with the ones he didn't even mention. That's I never even got to the certain part where he was going for those. I never even made it to that area.
That's funny. Yeah, he's damn good. So
that's an understatement. You hear that music?
I did. I heard that music come rolling in. What's that mean?
It's time for the article of the week.
All right. Well, I
What do we got this week?
thought we were going to dance or something like that a little bit, little dancing.
Well, we could if you'd like. Article of the week.
We got an article from GB News: the 7 people you meet in training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
So we only meet 7 people, Byron?
Well, it's kind of like a fun article, but they kind of just throw everybody in little chunks. And it's
okay.
fun.
I thought they were only saying 7 people train jiu-jitsu.
Well, in your class, they max it at 7, don't they?
Well, is that the fire safety code?
You don't want more than 7 people on the mat at one time, so you can only meet
Injuries.
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Even if your mat's large, 7 is enough. That way you get to rotate a guy out every now and then.
Somebody gets to rest every
yeah.
5th round, 6th round.
Sure. You get three groups roll in and 1 rest. So.
Yep. Yeah, good idea.
Good idea. So that's the basics of that article. No, not quite. They basically kind of just say, their article, I would say, sums up how diverse the sport is and how you're going to meet so many different people from so many different walks of life. I think that's kind of a neat thing. The first one that they mention is the MMA junkie. This is common. This is
I think, yeah.
Yeah, the UFC fan comes in. They're all motivated by what they see on TV, and they want to learn.
They probably have the best gear, the tab out rash guard, the UFC gloves. They know everybody. They've known every. You always see that new guy who's seen every Pride, every Extreme Challenge, back from the 90s.
And it's like, where have you been all these years? Why haven't you came in and tried to roll? And if that's you, get in there and try to roll.
Yeah.
It's not as intimidating as you might think. But it's not MMA if you're in the jiu-jitsu class. Remember that. It's a little different. And you are a beginner if this is early in your stuff. So
I have to say, when I started, I was always watching MMA, and I was kind of the MMA junkie at that point. I thought because I watched it all the time, I was going to be pretty good. I knew what a guillotine was. I thought I was in good shape, and I walked in and got throttled.
I think that's a common experience.
I think so.
And yeah, maybe you could learn a little bit, ideas from watching TV or whatever, but really the mat time is where it's actually going to come together.
Yeah.
You can understand what the guard is, but you don't understand why it works the way it does.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. It was just knowing what the guard was, knowing how to put your wrap up a guillotine choke, an arm bar. I thought I knew. But yeah, like you said, it's time on the mat, drilling, slow roll, live roll. Yeah, it's how you get there.
That's the MMA junkie. The other one they have about 7 of these.
7 of them.
Weekend warrior. Talking about doctors, lawyers, teachers, parents, people who have day jobs or week jobs, and they come in and they train on the weekends or evenings. I think it's more common. But
yeah, I think sometimes a lot of them want their weekends free, and maybe I think that they call it the weekend warrior, but I bet it's probably just somebody who trains once or twice a week.
Yeah,
somebody with
really
different
common.
obligations. Wants really sick of playing kickball and wants a little more activity or in their
But
life.
these people are good for the team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They it's good to have that diversity and the different viewpoints and the different. It's good if you need to know somebody who could redo your roof. I know somebody who's a roofer on the from Fox Fitness.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, and it really is that way. I mean, you yourself, you were training with firefighters, who helped you along in your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, it really is that way. I train with a guy who works in my office building there too. I got him training. It's kind of neat like that.
There's a good mix, and that's good that helps everybody in the long run.
Yep.
Number 3, the competitor. That's pretty simple, and somebody who's dedicated a lot more time than the weekend warrior, a lot more off the mat training as well, and they're looking to do well in competitions.
Yes,
I say the weekend warrior does compete sometimes.
Yeah, and the weekend warrior can be just as good as the competitor.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen a lot of those weekend warriors. They may be 45 years old, former wrestler, now a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. But I mean, they
still miss that action on the mat.
Yeah.
They want to get in there on the days they can and have fun.
Yeah,
not just work all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. You said have fun. A lot of those people, it's more for the fun issue, a little bit of exercise, maybe not as competitive as a competitor. I guess that's how they call it, competitor.
And that's fine. And of course, people are going to be training together, so that's just something to keep in mind. If you are the competitor and you've got a weekend warrior, keep that in mind. Yeah,
that guy has to
explain the black eye.
Yeah.
In the business meeting the next morning. So.
That's never good. Never good. The fourth one here, we have the future instructor. The head instructor can't be there to watch every moment, of practice there. Oftentimes they recruit the help of other students. And, these guys may become, future instructors.
Absolutely.
A black belt is a white belt who never quits, it says. And so we definitely get a lot of those people out there.
Yep. It's good to... Not everybody has the talent or the skill for communicating and teaching jiu-jitsu, and it's important for the teachers, the instructors, to recognize that in other students and get them in the position where they could help.
And just because you're the best one in the class doesn't mean you're the future instructor.
Absolutely,
like you said, it's a skill. It's a skill to be able to articulate, what you want.
Sometimes I think if it comes easy to you, you could be one of the worst teachers in the class because you don't understand why people are struggling with the technique.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Yeah.
And okay, it's easy for you. It's hard for me. Quit telling me it's easy because that's frustrating.
Yeah, you never want to be the partner with that guy who picks everything up in a second.
Yeah,
because you just get frustrated if you're not that guy. Number 5, the one addicted to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I think we see a lot of these today.
Yeah, I think this comes and goes with people. You jump from one category to the other sometimes.
Yeah.
You can go from weekend warrior. Okay, now I'm going to do a competition coming up in a few months. You go to competitor mode. You hop around a little bit.
Yeah. The addicted one, it kind of almost reminds me. It seems like people are always taking trips to Brazil.
Yeah.
They go on the Gracie cruise or the camps, which actually I want to do.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting a little addicted when like at the big tournaments, they come through and they're on TV or on the internet, and I end up watching that like all weekend long. Yeah. I'm like, I've just watched tons of jiu-jitsu all week. Yeah. It was a pretty good weekend, It's like, okay, that's. I'm glad it's not all the time because that's too much for me.
But you just said you watch it all weekend. Don't you think it's kind of? I seem like I'm like one of the only people in our neighborhood or whatever that doesn't spend all Sunday watching football. And it seems like I noticed that with a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. It seems like if there's an open mat on Sunday, they'll be there.
Yeah.
Where everybody else is, waiting for noon to come so they can watch football. But the jiu-jitsu guys, the addicted guys, even the weekend warriors, the competitors, they're all there on Sundays.
Something you can't get watching TV, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. Number 6, we have the comedian. This is a guy that's always cracking the jokes on and off the mat. But they have the upbeat, positive attitude. Everybody likes this person. They're a joy to be around. They have great stories.
It's good to have at least one in the class. Someone can keep the mood light and keep it fun. And should something funny happen, they're good at calling it out.
Let everybody know about it. It's the one thing though, you can't go overboard.
Yeah.
You have to train. We're all here to train.
Yeah.
And it's fun to laugh and joke, but you got to know when you're disrupting the training. If the instructor's trying to teach something.
Yeah.
You gotta be
that's
careful
true.
with that. Yeah.
But it's good to keep it lighthearted. And, I mean, you tap the comedian out. Is the comedian going to get pissed about it? Probably not. Yeah. They're probably going to giggle it off and then re-roll some more.
Well, he's going to, you may tap that guy out, but he's going to win in the end because he's going to be the guy just making fun of you in front of everybody. He's going to win the verbal judo.
Yeah.
So he's going to win there. We also have the number 7, the last one, the one nobody expects. That's the person who walks into the academy that you don't expect to be there. And basically from the beauty queen to senior citizens. That's what's great.
That's what people call us.
Yeah. The beauty queen?
And senior citizens.
Oh. Which one am I?
I don't know.
But I mean, that's what's so great about jiu-jitsu is, man, I'm seeing older people, younger people, cheerleaders, beauty queens. Everybody's jumping in it. And it's kind of neat. And like you said, it's such a diversity.
Yeah.
Your school is built up of hundreds of people, hopefully hundreds of people, that
or
would
dozens
never,
or a couple.
yeah, or 7, that would never meet. You'd probably never meet these guys.
Absolutely would not. Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't even know you if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu.
I don't know how you would know me. I mean, we're two different.
Yeah.
Across the town and two different walks of life. You know.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu brings people together, and you go through common struggles together, and I think that's a bonding experience, and that's one of the good things that when we ask some of these black belts, what's one of the biggest things that you've got from jiu-jitsu, they sometimes mention wins and victories, but a lot of times they just say friends.
Yeah.
And that's
and I always joke with people, and I guess I might almost be the comedian in the class. I do train. I don't know where I fit in.
I think
I'm partial in everything.
Okay. Yeah,
but I always
especially
say
the
that
beauty queen.
Yeah, the beauty queen. I always say it seems like a lot of times we go to a social function, but jiu-jitsu breaks out.
Yeah.
I think of it that way. It's just a bunch of guys and girls that all are friends and have fun, and then we do a little jiu-jitsu with it, and so it's just a good time with a bunch of good people.
Absolutely. The article's from GB News.
Check it out.
7 people you meet training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So
we'll put a link to it on our site there, so you can check it out.
That's right. Well, Gary, we've chit-chatted enough, I believe.
I think it's time for the interview.
All right, here's Yuri Simões on the BjjBrick Podcast. All right, my friends, it's my honor to welcome Yuri Simões to the BjjBrick Podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm great, thank you. How are you, Byron?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to have you on. You're a high-level black belt competitor. Anytime we get to have somebody on the show of your skill and accomplishments, we're happy to have you on and pick your brain and get some advice, some coaching advice, and hear some of your story. So it'll be a good day today.
Thank you, yeah.
If somebody who hasn't yet found out who you are, could you describe a little bit about yourself, a little bit of competition career, and who you are, where you train from, and stuff like that?
I would say I'm a guy who's been doing jiu-jitsu for like 12, 13 years, on focus in the tournaments. Like I've been doing that as my life, and that's my goal since I'm very young, and I'm just trying to get better every day, trying to learn. Every time I go to the gym, I try to get something from someone new, and I think that's how I'm still haven't got what I want in the sport, and I'm gonna keep giving my best to get there.
So, what is your ultimate goal in the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
I want to become world champion in every belt. So far, I just won in the previous belt. I haven't won in the black belt. Got third this year, but didn't get a chance to win the gold. I had the chance, but I didn't do so well. So I'm gonna keep training, keep doing my best to get the gold.
Yeah, bronze medal is an amazing accomplishment at the black belt level. Thanks. That's really impressive.
Thank you.
You said you've been training since you were a kid?
Yeah, that's right.
How'd you get started?
I started with my father when I was 7 years old. Started at home. We had a mat at home, and my father was already a purple belt, and started showing me some basic moves like mounts, armbar from the mount, rear naked choke. The stuff that you learn in your first lessons, and I really liked it. I watched a lot of the Choke, the documentary by Hicks and Grace.
Yeah, classic.
And that also was, I think, an extra push for me to go to jiu-jitsu world. And then when I was 9, I got in an academy. I was training, but just for fun. I was a very fat kid, and I just wanted I wanted to learn how to defend myself, but also get fit, lose some weight. But finally, when I was 12, 13, then I started taking it more serious and seeing the possibility of making a living off jiu-jitsu, and that's when I really gave all of me to training and live off jiu-jitsu. since then.
How old are you when you started competing?
I first resisted myself in the tournament when I was like 11, but because, like I said, I was very chubby, there were no many kids on my brackets, not at all. So like I got a lot of like gold medals for no fights in the beginning. I was so bummed. All my friends got to fight. I didn't have a fight, and then I had to struggle again because when I finally got to fight when I was like 14 years old, I didn't do so well. I lost like most of my tournaments in the first fight. Probably like my first 13, 12 tournaments, I lost in the first match because of like adrenaline. I didn't know how to control the adrenaline on me, and I let it, take over, and didn't get to focus. And I think it was important for me to overcome it and see if that's what I really wanted to do and keep doing. And once I passed that adrenaline like problem, I think things started getting better for me.
So you got a few medals from just showing up, and then you lost like a whole lot of tournaments the first match. Was that pretty discouraging? Did you think about quitting, or was it still fun?
I was a kid, I think I didn't really think about quitting. I always thought at some point I would start winning. And like looking back now, like, man, I probably had a lot of reasons to think about quitting, that much loss.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky, like my parents, they've always been very supportive on that. And, my father always like encouraged me to fight. No, you're going to win. Always like putting positive thoughts on my mind. And finally, I want to start winning. And I like, as a juvenile, I won all the tournaments, in like the main tournaments. I won the Brazilian Nationals, I won like 5 state champions in Rio, Worlds, South American, World Cup, like everything, like the biggest tournaments I won as juvenile. And I think you should never quit. If you really love it, you should never quit.
That's good advice. And how did your I'm thinking, like, from your dad's point of view, if you have a son who's lost like 10 tournaments the first match, how important it is to keep motivating that kid to not give up, and look at you now. You're one of the main guys that's going to, when you step on the world stage, you're one of the guys in contention to get gold. Like, you're one of the main guys in your division that everybody looks at. And as a kid, you were losing your first match. So, like, how important was it that your dad was motivating you and telling you you're going to get better? Do you remember feeling that as a kid?
Yeah, man. That was really the main thing, I think, because my father was always the person who I looked like, the man that I wanted to become one day. Like, he was always my hero, So having him on my side and always motivating me was really important for my progress, my evolution in the sport, and like to like overcome that like problem, that fear with the adrenaline. That was very important, and I'm very thankful to had him like mentor me and like supporting me since very young, encouraging me to fight. Definitely, that made a difference,
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it always makes a big difference when you have a lot of support from a parent.
Sure.
With anything you're doing as a kid. If somebody hasn't seen any of your matches online or live, how would you describe your style of jiu-jitsu?
My style of jiu-jitsu, I never really got asked about that. Let me think. I think I'm someone who always look for the victory, I want to make sure I'll do my best in the mat to do what I can to win. And even before the match, when I'm preparing myself, I always want to be in every situation. I don't like to hold myself at one style, one game.
Yeah.
I like to train every situation, every scenario, stand up, takedowns, guard, not one guard, but I want to learn all kind of guards, and as well as on top, I want to learn all type of pass, all type of controls on top. So I don't get I don't get surprised in the tournament, because if you just hold yourself to one style, like one kind of guard, or you watch someone a lot and you want to copy that style for you, a lot of times you don't have the same body type of that person that you copy, And also, you may be really good at doing a half guard or a spider guard, and that's all you do. But when you go to compete, there might be someone who is better passing spider guard than you're playing spider guard. So I think it's really important for you to, like, for my style at least, I find it very helpful that I train and I put myself in all kind of situation. So when I get in the tournament, I don't feel like scared or surprised in any scenario, and I can do the best of me, all the time. I can like be aware of what's going on, because if someone only do like certain game, then you put them in another area, it's like a fish out of water. Even though it's still on the ground, they have no much experience in that situation because they don't train that as a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but I think you still probably have some favorite techniques that you like to do a lot, and probably some favorite positions. Do you?
Yeah, I do. I have some techniques that I like to do. I like to do a lot of like half spider guard. I like to do that guard, and I connect myself from that guard. I go to another guards but I like to do on the bottom. I would say the main thing would be my half spider guard, spinning under, like trying to always look for a gap, going to the guy's back or something. But I really like the mount position as well. Cross chokes, I love that. But like I said, I don't really just do that. I try to be the best I can in every position.
Yeah.
Just the pursuit for the perfection. I try to search for the perfection one day.
Everybody's reaching for that.
Yeah.
Do you do very much without the key, competition-wise?
I've done a couple. I fought, as a black belt, I only did a super match in Australia against a guy. He was way lighter than me, so I don't really count that match. But I've competed in the previous belt, like the brown belt. I won the world's no-gi division open weight. Was one of my main accomplishments because in the weight I really messed up my foot, and 5 hours later I had to do the open weight against tough guys like DJ Jackson and guys like that, and beating them with a bad foot was really good for my mind toughness. I had to stay tough all the time, and I won that. I won the World No-Gi. I got medal in the Brazilian Nationals No-Gi, second on my weight and third in absolute. I won 2 state champions as when I was juvenile as a No-Gi, but don't think I competed more than that. I'm doing now the No-Gi next month in California, the World's No-Gi as a black belt. I'm excited for that.
Cool. That will be exciting to watch.
Yeah, I hope.
So what weight class are you in?
I'm a heavyweight, 94 kilos.
So there's a lot
Without
of...
the key, I think it's 91.
There's a lot of monsters in your division. A lot of well-known guys, a lot of talent in that division.
Oh yeah, man. Plenty of them. It's a bracket full of good names.
Yeah. So right now you're in Brazil. You're visiting some family, but you normally train out of California?
Yeah, that's where I'm been training. Since I've been competing, was when I was a purple belt. Before in Checkmate, I was already training California, traveling to train that. And now I'm with CTA, with Caio, Terra, and since January, this year was from January all the way through July there. Training right after Europeans, end of January, I think. Yeah, I flew to America, and I was just training and competing all the way, that season. And I think California is the place to be now in Jiu-Jitsu, with all these tournaments there, all these brands, and like it's just bigger like media there with Jiu-Jitsu, more opportunities, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of good talent there to train with. I think we recently had one of your training partners, Shmir Chantry, on the show. I think about 5 or 6 episodes back, and he was a lot of fun to talk to. So you got last time at Worlds you got 3rd place.
Yeah.
So you had to. The competition is real close to that. So who are some of the guys that you faced?
I think the toughest guys were already from like the quarterfinals, the second day, and in the semifinals was Gustavo Pires. He's fighting the Pro League as well, I think, in the heavier division than mine. Gustavo Pires is tough, has a tough close guard, ended up getting his close guard. I managed to open his guard and get a pass. And then I fought Bernardo Faria, which is really tough as well. One of like the best pounds for pounds at the moment. And I was doing well. I passed his guard right in the beginning. I got a pass. I was winning 3 points. Then he recovered the guard. And I almost passed twice and thrice. Almost passed his guard 2 more times. And he recovered, fast recover, and then he swapped me. Then it was like 3-2. I swapped him again. It was like 5-2 for me. And I was winning all the way until like 8 minutes of fight. Maybe a little more, I don't know. And then right in the end, he managed to sweep me and get my back and like reverse the score for like 8-5, and the fight finished. So he beat me on points, 8-5. It was a tough match. I learned a lot from it, and next time I'll do my best so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you guys back out there again. You've also had a couple matches with Lovato Jr., is that correct?
Yes, I fought Lovato twice, both times in the Pan Ams. Pan Ams 2012, Pan Ams this year, 2014. I beat him both times.
And how did that go?
For me, great. For him, not so well, because I heard a lot of complaints from him on his website. A lot of, unnecessary stuff that he said. But I don't know. I think, he's been there doing it for a while, but it seems that he hasn't learned how to lose yet, Nobody likes to lose, but I think you have to be professional about it and not try to put the other down if it happens, because it's a tournament where you have high level guys in your bracket. You can't expect to tap everybody, You have tough matches, so sometimes you tap, sometimes you'll be a tough match and nobody will be able to get a submission. And I think in the last match he was complaining about he lost by an advantage, this and that, but he knew the rules from the tournament before he fought the tournament. And funny thing, it's one fight before our fight, he fought a guy and he beat the guy by one advantage, the same score that he lost by me. And I had an open guard the whole time. He could have passed my guard if he was so good, but he didn't pass my guard. He didn't tap me. I couldn't tap him. I'm humble enough to say that he has a good jiu-jitsu, but I did my best, and that day was my best was to beat him by one advantage. Maybe next time I'll tap him. I don't know, maybe not, but that's my point. I always do my best and always be respectful toward my opponent.
Yeah, you guys are both out there. You have the same rules, the same situation, and both guys are trying as hard as they can. A, to get it to the next match, and B, to try to finish if you can. So, those are both important things to have in your mind when you're competing. How would you think about Oh, good. How would you think about a longer match, maybe even a Metamorph style match against him?
I think that would be great. I would, I would love to do that, especially with him. I train hard. I I trained for a long time, and I feel comfortable fighting jiu-jitsu, any rule, any scenario. I trust my jiu-jitsu, I trust myself, and I would love to do that,
Yeah, I would love to see that, and give both of you guys the opportunity to have a longer match with just one goal in mind is for the submission, and that'd be a lot of fun. We'll pass the word on up, and we'll try to get you a match in Matamoros with Lovato. That'd be awesome.
Yes, I would love that, man.
Do you have any guesses on any submissions that you could get on him?
I don't think I would say that.
Okay.
Because you never know what happens in a match. But
yeah.
I would definitely try to submit him with anything I could.
Do you think it would be like a different style of match without the points? You'd play it a little differently?
I think both of us would play differently, longer time, different rules, bigger like fighting area, all that counts. I think both would play differently, not just me or him.
Yeah.
And I think I would win. That's what I think. I trust myself. I trust like I said, I trust my jiu-jitsu. And
you'd get the tap.
I believe I would leave with the arm raised. That's what I believe.
All right. Well, we'll pass the word along, and we'll try to make this happen. This is going to be a great thing for the sport to get you guys out there to get a longer time limit with just submissions only. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's hope that happens.
So, we talked a little bit about your past. What are some of your current goals? You mentioned getting a world championship at the black belt level. Do you have anything else going on?
Yeah, so that would be like my main thing, but like I have also the dream to be in the ADCC. That's a big dream that I have as well. I want to do the trials for the next one. I want to go for the Abu Dhabi Pro next year for sure. I want to be there too. I hadn't competed there yet, and those two, like the ADCC and the Abu Dhabi Pro, two things that I really want to do. I think just keep competing. I'm excited for this BJJ Pro League. Will be my first one. I think that's the third event they have, and I think that will be fun too. I'm really looking forward to win. There are gonna be good matches there, and I think after next Worlds, I'm seriously thinking of starting my MMA career. I know like a lot of I have a lot of friends that have started. They've been doing well, and that's been a dream of mine since I started in martial arts. So like I said, watching Choke documentary since then, watching MMA. Back then, Vale Tudo, right?
Yeah.
But that's something that I want to do too in the future, a soon future.
Does MMA look fun or just look challenging, or what is the biggest appeal to MMA to you?
It's another sport, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot different, I think.
Because it pays, maybe? I mean, is that a big factor?
No, it pays. That's just a bonus, I think. But like the whole sport, the rules and everything is very different. You get punched in the face. In jiu-jitsu, you don't get punched in the face.
That's one of the reasons I like jiu-jitsu.
That would be the biggest difference. I think like for a jiu-jitsu fighter, it's very important to have a good wrestling, good judo, just good takedown, clinch game, because that's gonna make things a lot easier to bring the guy to your game, So I think I would, even work even harder on my takedowns, on my transition to MMA, and of course striking, because you don't start holding your opponent already. You start both start separated, so you have to handle some punches, if it happens, and be ready for that. So I think it's a different sport, but that's for me, that's exciting. It means that I can I will have a lot to learn, and I'm down for that. I like to learn, new things, so it'll be fun.
Do you have any? Are there any current MMA fighters that you like to watch that you think you'd have a similar style to? Any idea?
I really like Fabricio Verdun.
Yeah.
I really like his style. He's also a really cool person. I like BJ Penn. I really like BJ, Damian Maia. I think the jiu-jitsu guys, the fights in the MMA, like Jacare,
Yeah.
Nick Diaz. I really like Nick Diaz. Let me see. My friend now, he just won the Ultimate Fighter, Cara de Sapato. He's gonna, be really good in the UFC as well. I think he's on the 93 kilos light heavyweight division. I think he's gonna be a beast there. Many guys, but mainly the jiu-jitsu guys I like to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the, it's fun. I'd rather watch jiu-jitsu, honestly, but it's fun to see the guys that go and they do well. Sometimes guys transition over and it's not, they don't have as much success with it, and I wonder what the difference is sometimes.
Yeah, it's good to see like someone carrying your flag, the flag from your martial art, and doing well. It's really good.
How long has it been since you got your black belt?
I got my black belt like the last day of 2011.
Okay.
So, like almost 3 years.
So you've fairly new. I mean, if you look at all the guys in the black belt division, in that division, you're one of the younger guys as far as experience competing at that level. How was it like? I'd imagine as a lower belt watching these black belt matches, and now you're in there competing with the same guys that you'd watched.
I think when I first moved to the black belt, like first year, that was like I felt that more than now. In the beginning when I got to fight these guys like Shandy, like guy like him, fighting him was really like weird feeling, like was overwhelming, like to fight someone who I watched when I was like yellow belt. He was already a world champion. And I remember watching him, and I would never imagine like fighting him in a world. So like I fought Nino Chambre too. I watched him fighting Pride against Sakuraba, and then I'm fighting a guy like Nino, so just guys like that, they're legends, and when you fight them, before you fight, you always like kind of, I think you kind of doubt yourself, especially in the beginning when you're new, like I was a new black belt. But I think after every match like that, you become stronger, and you believe more in yourself, and I look myself. It's less than 3 years I'm in the black belt, but I already look at myself as a much more experienced fighter than when I got my black belt. Like huge difference. So, and I think that to fighting these guys, these tough guys.
So can you think of like, since you've got your black belt, something that you've learned about jiu-jitsu that you didn't really realize before you got your black belt?
Yeah, man, a lot. I mean, the part of my life that I learned more in jiu-jitsu was after the black belt. And like I think that most of the lower belts, they look at the black belt as, like I did, at least I did. You look at the black belt as the roof, you look like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's where, like, that's where everything stops. Like I'll learn up to there. But then I got my black belt, and man, then I realized that that's when I actually started to learn, That's when actually everything started to count for real, and I learned more in those 2 years and a half, more than all my previous years in the other belts. All the belts through yellow or blue or like any belts, like I didn't learn as much as I learned in the black belt. Every detail, like you have to know more the details, because you're fighting a guy like a tough guy like the ones I said, you really need to be sharp on the details. So your mind just works a lot more, and you have to like, when you teach, you have to be also in the mat an example for lower belts. That's also like, I think weights, and that also helps you to see yourself like differently. Like, oh, I have to show an example for them, and like it helps also your progression. So I think you learn a lot in the black belt, man, more than any other belt.
That's I think it's different when you're a white belt or blue belt, and you look at the black belts, you think, like you said, that they know everything, and then they're and that's the ceiling, and really there's no ceiling. You're always going to be learning more. You're always going to grow.
Yep. You always learn, man. That's the great thing about jiu-jitsu. You know, you go to like boxing, you have maybe 5-6 moves. It's all about timing and all that, but it's most like you learn like, you know, you won't learn more than 10 things, man. You train a lot of timing and power and how footwork and all that, but you learn like not a lot. I mean, jiu-jitsu, you learn like forever, man. It's like a science. You always learn more. There's always a new guard.
Yeah.
There's always a new position, a new variation from the old positions, and you know it never stops growing. You know, it's good. It's fascinating.
So do you work much with like the newer guards that come out and?
Oh yeah, like I said, I'm not like my mind. I try to be open-minded every time I step in the mat, and I try to put myself in all kind of situations, all kind of scenarios, especially now with these new guards, like my opponents. So I try to like be ready for that, and I try to use that as well, learn. You know, I think if you're humble to learn, man, you're gonna last longer fighting. You know, like if you get stuck to one certain game, your time will pass faster.
Yeah. Let's say you've got a big match coming up. Let's say here it is. You're at Metamoris. You've got Lovato Jr. across the mat from you. What do you do before you compete to get ready? Like the hour up until the match. Like what are you doing to get your mind ready and get your body in the state of competition focus?
First, I try to control the adrenaline. I think that's the biggest enemy. If you don't control it, if you let it control you, you even if you win, you're not gonna have a really enjoyable tournament. So first, I try to like focus on what I'm gonna do. Like by the time I'm like 1 hour before the tournament, I already know who's gonna be my first opponent. If I don't know who he is, I'll just stick to like what I feel comfortable doing. Oh, I think I'll play on top. You know, I think I'll pull guard. So if I think I'll pull guard, then I'll think, oh, what kind of grip I'm gonna do before I pull guard, or what, you know, I try to think on the mat. And what if he does this, or what if, not like in a nervous way, but I try to like work my mind on what's gonna happen in the mat, instead of worrying like, oh, yes, man, I'm gonna get that medal, I'm gonna win, or, well, man, what if I lose? I don't want to lose. You know, I think those are not important thoughts to have before your fight. You kind of have to leave that and just focus on what you're gonna do, like on your game and what position that may happen on the fight. And then not like 30 minutes to 40 minutes before the fight, I start to like warming up. I want to first like get my joints, like loose up my joints, and then get my heart rate ready for like the intensity of the fight. Like try to do some like sprints, some things like that, just to raise my heart rate a little bit. Then I start like to doing like some light drills, you know, like stand-up drills, or, you know, like some guard pass or some moves, you know, just it's very important for me to get a nice warm-up, a good warm-up before my fight, because if you go cold to the fight, your opponent might already have been very warmed up, and he's going to start in another intensity. And if you start going hard from the beginning, you're not warm, your muscle going to get really stiff, and you're going to like feel shocked, you know, like it's not, especially in 10 minutes match. it's long, so you need to make sure you get a nice warm up. I think that's what I do.
That sounds like a good system to get you to perform and be reliable and control that adrenaline. Let's say there's a listener who's getting ready for their first tournament. Without knowing that person, what advice would you be able to give somebody that's going to compete for the first time?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Yes. Go to enjoy. They have to notice why did they go to jiu-jitsu first. They didn't go to jiu-jitsu because they don't like it. They like what they're doing. So it's a good, cool opportunity. It's a cool moment. So try to enjoy. Try to focus on their techniques, that the training, and enjoy it and have fun. Winning or losing, go to have fun.
That's good advice. And I think a lot of times when you're getting ready for that first tournament, it's so, you might be so nervous or so anxious that it's hard to sit back and say, hey, I'm doing this for fun. Like this, no one's making me do this. This is something that I'm giving myself to do. I should enjoy it.
Yes, and even if you want it to become something serious or something that you really want to do, you have to start it as a fun thing. You can't start already like expecting too much from yourself.
Yeah. If
you never really competed, you need to feel it first. Feel if it's something that you really enjoy, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you think about it, if you said I have to win my first tournaments as a kid, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to be good at it, you lost, would you say, about 13 of your first tournaments?
Yeah.
So that would have been it. That you wouldn't have been able to have fun with it, and you would have said, I'm not good at jiu-jitsu, and now you're one of the top guys.
Byron, the most interesting thing is I didn't win until I actually enjoyed what I was doing. I was too much concerned about the outcome of it, that I didn't really enjoy that feeling. Although I wanted to do that, I think I just really started to be successful in the tournaments when I started enjoying the moment of the fight, enjoying to be there and competing and doing the techniques that I trained, and seeing work, seeing the success of every technique that I trained. Before I would just, I don't know, I wouldn't really enjoy the moment, that moment, and I think that worked against me to win the thing. So I think enjoying it's really the key, the biggest key.
That's good. So even enjoying it, you're able to do actually a little bit better, especially.
Yeah.
And no, nobody who's at your level, I'm sure just as many of them won their first match as lost their first match. If it's your first tournament, big deal. It's your first tournament. It's not. It's a learning thing, just stepping on the mat. Do you remember what you were like as a blue belt?
Say again? When I was...
Yeah, we've got a lot of listeners. A lot of them are white belts and blue belts, and blue belts often a kind of a confusing belt. They're trying to figure out their own style in their game. But do you remember what you were like as a blue belt? What kind of game you had, or what you like to do?
I remember as a blue belt, I liked to play on top. I didn't really had a game, I started, like I said, very young, so I got all the yellow, orange, green belts. So all these belts, I didn't had a game. When I got my blue belt, I still didn't find myself with a game plan, And I think that's important in the beginning. Like I said, now I try to work in every scenario, but in the beginning, it's important to have a solid game. And I think back then, I was training with Silvio Bering, and he told me, what are you going to do in your fight? What's your plan? And then I realized, man, I don't have a plan. And then I started doing more on top game, play more on top, because it was such a short time. Juvenile, you only have 5 minutes, juvenile blue belt. I think adults 6 minutes. But as a juvenile, 5 minutes, it was very short time. My guard was not so offensive, I wasn't able to get a sweep very fast, or it was more like a defensive guard, I was very flexible, but couldn't push to sweep the guy very fast. So I figured out that it would be better for me myself, I'm not saying that they should do that, but like for me, I figured out that I should play more on top and try to get the takedown, or if the guy pull guard, try to play on top and just pass, because I would be able to keep the intensity from the beginning and like get better opportunities than if I pull guard, in such a short time.
Yeah. Can you think of any advice for a student who doesn't really have a game yet, and they're trying to figure out what should I be good at? What should I specialize in to make myself a little bit better? Do you have any advice that would help them find their own game?
I think they have, like, copying would definitely not help them. Like I said, everybody has your own, like, size, your own. They have to try their techniques on the mat, on the training, and feel how it works for them. Like feel. Maybe they have long legs. Oh, I have long legs. I feel comfortable doing close guard. All right. Then I'll have to find 2-3 techniques that I really like on close guard. Just follow whatever or if they're very short, like, I'd rather do like deep half guard, get under my opponent. Like they have to really see what works for them at training. And then once they see the success in their position and started like sharpening it up, like sharpening their techniques to develop a game, but they have to be under coach, they have to be the persons to notice it, to notice what worked for them and what they can use or not. I can like say, oh, you guys play De La Riva guard. I can't say that because some people won't be able to do it, but I think they have to try it out and figure it out. Like, oh, that works for me. I should do that. I don't feel really comfortable doing that right now. I don't think it's for me yet. I need to improve that more. So I'm not gonna do that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's important. So basically, you're saying like find out what you do well or a little bit better than your other techniques and start working on that more.
Sharpen that up. Yeah,
that's good. What would be some good goals that you would give a person who's just starting jiu-jitsu for like their first year? What would be, you know what I mean? Like if it's my first year of jiu-jitsu, what should I set for myself to be a good goal?
I think the main thing is to listen to your coach, especially in the first year. It's in the first year in jiu-jitsu. I remember my first year in jiu-jitsu. It was like, what is that? It's this sport, contact, like all these transitions and all that. It's like a different world. So like, you really have to look up to someone like a coach, like your black belt or whoever is coaching your academy. Find someone who is trustful and you trust, and listen to him and try to like absorb all the like all the techniques, all the like how I say mentoring, like like try to follow your coach on what he says for you to do and everything, and for sure if you listen to your coach you get to where you want to be. The second year you'll be less lost.
Less lost, and you'll think you'll know where you're at.
If you feel that like you have to, a lot of guys, I don't know, they start and they might think, oh, I'm tough, I'm doing my way, it doesn't really work in jiu-jitsu. It's like I said, a science. You need to listen to someone who understands it, to guide you. You need to be guided. And I think the best way, like, is just listen to your coach and be humble, try to learn, go to the gym to learn. Don't get like stuck at one situation. Or I just like to do that pass. Even if you develop your game and you have a favorite position, don't forget to train and to learn different stuff. So in the future you can add that up to your game too. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I like what you're not saying that as a new student you need to be on YouTube every day looking at like 100 different new moves. Listen to the coach. Listen to the person in front of you that's watching you do your jiu-jitsu. I mean, avoid the temptation of trying to figure out everything else for yourself and get that mentor to help you along the way and get started.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, like, I'm not going against, like, YouTube videos or some people are totally against that. I'm not, I'm open-minded. I also watch techniques on YouTube, but I think that when, like, even for a technique that you watch on YouTube, if you're a white belt and you do it, nobody's watching you, how are you going to learn? The guy on the video is not going to turn to you, oh, you're doing that wrong, He's not going to talk to you, the guy on the video. He's just going to keep showing the technique, and you can do the replay, but, he's not going to tell what you're doing wrong. So you're still going to need your coach to tell you, oh, do this, get that on the hook, or to get you the details. So listening to the coach and to the higher belts will be really important for the progress.
Yeah, I always say that, they're going to go out there and watch the videos because, I mean, when you first start, it's so fascinating and you just want to learn more and more. But if your coach is having you work on like a triangle choke, YouTube triangle chokes and learn more about what your coach wants you to learn about versus just doing all the crazy stuff that may be above you. And yeah, you watch YouTube, you're a high-level black belt. You can look at a video and tell that it's not a good technique or it is a good technique just by watching the video, and people like me have to try it to figure out, okay, that was crap, that's not a good technique. So it's just different for everybody, but there's a place for it to add to your training, and then I think a lot of people get sucked into the trap of trying to use that as a primary way to learn, and they, like you're saying, use your coach, use that person to help you get better.
Exactly. Trust your coach.
What are some traits of somebody who's like kind of new in jiu-jitsu that would make them be more successful early on?
Definitely. I think being open-minded in jiu-jitsu, it's very important, you need, if you close up, like I said, man, even now in the black belt, if I close my mind to what I've learned, only what I've learned in the previous belt, jiu-jitsu is going to keep going. It's going to keep progressing. And at some point, I'm going to be past already. But if I keep myself always upgrading, like always learning different stuff, learning whatever is new, and I'll keep myself always like evolving, always progressing. So being open-minded from the beginning, it's a very important thing in jiu-jitsu. I think another thing, it's like when you go to the gym, leave the pride outside of the gym, because you don't want to, like, man, especially if you start in jiu-jitsu, like, why would you not tap if you're like a white belt and you have so much to learn? You may get a really bad injury and you're not going to be able, it's going to delay a lot of your progress. Like, I know some guys, they got hernias, like already on the disc hernia on the white belt, or like bad ligament injury on because I don't know, they try to avoid a sweep, not get sweep so much, and they like pop their knees, or like they didn't want to tap on the kimura and they pop their shoulders. At least if you want to have that pride, have some knowledge. You can like go as a white belt and blue belt and try to like be a Superman in academy, against your teammate. I think that works very against whoever like is proud is really bad, because like you can get a really bad injury, and plus like it's not good like to go to compete in a gym. You go there to learn, Of course you have to train hard, you have to push yourself to the limit, but like not with the armbar on, You don't want to see my pop right after the guy like bumped his hip, your arm is gonna blow. So I think don't be a hero under submissions, leave the pride outside. That's gonna keep you healthier for a longer time, I think. Yeah,
that'll help, definitely let your jiu-jitsu career be longer, a lot longer.
Yes.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you or train with you or just to keep track of your competition career, how would they keep up with you?
You guys, you can check it out on my fan page on Facebook. Give a like there. Also, I have my Instagram, Yuri Simões BJJ, and my website where I always like post some techniques or some BJJ articles, yurisimões.com. So check it out, see if you like it.
Yeah, and I'll put links to all those on the notes. But the website is YURISIMOES.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. You have a sponsor, anything you'd like to thank, or any training partners?
Yeah, I want to thank first. I want to thank everybody who supports me, family, friends, everybody that is following me and helping me in some way. I want to thank CTA for all the support since I've been there. They really make me feel like family there, and they really welcome me since the first day there. I feel really good. I want to thank Caio, Terra, my coach, for all the guidance he's been doing, all the support, everything. Gameness also for the support, for the best geese, And thanks BjjBrick for the podcast invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, man.
Pleasure to have you on.
And I'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, a real quick question. I forgot to ask, but training with Caio, having such a big difference in weight, how does the training go with him? Is it different because he's not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Like Caio is the wizard of jiu-jitsu. It's funny because I feel like I'm a blue belt comparing to his level, man. I go to him and I mention one technique and he knows so much ahead already from that technique, 2, 3, 4 variation from that. So it's really good. It's really been helping me a lot on my jiu-jitsu. This year I've got the best results. I fought the 3 biggest tournaments in jiu-jitsu this year. I placed, and definitely I have to thank that to Caio, for all the details that he has been helping me. He has hired a judo coach, to help the team understand it. For me, it was very important because heavyweights, a lot of guys like to fight standing. So he really knows what I need to work on, and he really helps me on that, fill that gaps on my game. Very supportive, and even outside of the match, he's a great friend of mine. His brother also, Kim, is also a really good person, really good friend of mine, and I'm just really thankful, and I'm glad that I'm part of the team.
Cool. And it looks like you've got a good team supporting you, and we're looking forward to seeing you compete in the future.
Thank you, Byron. Thank you, man.
Yep, thanks for coming on and giving us an interview. We appreciate it.
Os.
All right, that wraps up our interview with our friend Yuri Simões. A pleasure to have him on, and look forward to seeing him compete in the future. And if you feel like sending Metamoris a message or email or whatever you do, a Facebook thing, tell him you want to see Yuri and Rafael Lovato Jr. That would be a great fight.
It'd be great. The people who'd win would be the fans. So.
That's the only guaranteed win, huh?
Yep, only guaranteed win.
Because it will be a close match.
Yeah.
Yep. So like you said, he's got a Facebook page, Instagram, and also YuriSimões.com.
Yeah, definitely check out his YuriSimões.com. I went to the website there, checked it out, and man, he's got a very nice website. Awesome website, so check it out and look for big things in the future. I mean, he's already done a ton of big things, but the guy's incredible.
Yep, and he's got big goals, so he's going to be working hard to accomplish those.
Yep, and basically I'm going to keep an eye out for him, and friend of the show, and we were just so happy and so honored to have him here.
Yep, a good friend of the show, and we'll continue to follow him and bring you guys any news that about him, so that'll be good. Gary.
Yes.
Our gi patches.
Gi patches.
You were supposed to take some of these the other day and you forgot.
Oh, thank you.
We're giving some away.
We need you to go onto iTunes and give us a review. Write a funny review on iTunes. Then send us an email and tell us that was you. Because you may have some crazy name on iTunes. Just send us an email. We'll read it on the air if you want us to. If not, we won't read it. But send us an email with your name and address, and we'll get you out a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu BjjBrick Podcast key patch.
Man, that is a sentence and a half right there.
Yes. How's that?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
BjjBrick Podcast key patch.
Wow.
Say that 10 times fast.
And you don't have to be maybe it probably helps if you're the comedian on the mat there, one of the 7 things from the article of the week. If you want to write a funny thing about us. But just write some funny stuff. You don't have to be the total comedian. And we'll be happy to read it on the air and get a few laughs out of you.
Yeah.
At probably our expense.
Yeah, probably our expense. Hey, we're used to it. And, and also, too, if you have any questions or would like to email us, BjjBrick@gmail.com. Send us any questions you may have. Also, if you have any ideas for shows or if your instructor would like to be interviewed, if you have an instructor there who would like to come on the show, or article of the week,
yeah.
we'd love to talk about your article. If you have a blog or you write articles, we're definitely down for that.
Oh, I said it a while back. I forgot about this, and nobody ever responded. But if you want to prank your coach, your instructor, get a hold of us, BjjBrick@gmail.com, and we'll figure out, we'll call and we'll be like a total idiot over the phone and want to train UFC.
We'll be
and come in here to smash people. And
we're all about, just knocking people out, train UFC, TRANE UFC.
Well, that'd be fun, but have a instructor that would appreciate the humor in it, and then we'll also do a little promotion for the gym that you guys are from. And
we'll say we wrestled in the 3rd grade, and we punch bricks to make our hands harder.
And I like to punch some bricks.
I'm 42-14 in death matches.
I haven't lost my little sister yet.
Yep.
So there's a lot we could kind of figure out and throw at them as far as that phone call. You when you call the instructor and you want to start training at that gym, that's the phone call we're going to place. They're not going to know. And then we'll be at the end of it. We'll tell them who we are and that we're just playing with them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll have.
And if they don't, and we'll ask, hey, do you mind if we air this? If they don't want it aired, we're not going to go against anybody's wishes. We're just here to have fun, good times, jokes and jokes.
Jokes and jokes.
That's our new motto.
I think that about wraps us up. If you're in the Wichita, Kansas area, definitely get a hold of us. We'll be happy to train with you.
If you don't know where Wichita, Kansas is, it's like in the middle of the United States.
Yeah, so you're not too far if you're in the U.S.
Yeah. You just got to make it to the middle.
So, all right, guys, we'll catch you guys next week, and it was a pleasure this episode. So,
thank you.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Here is another segment of unnecessary censorship. Is the MMA. This is common. This is
I think the
UFC fan comes in. They're all motivated by what they see on TV, and they want to learn.
They probably have the best, the tab out, the UFC gloves. They know everybody. They've known every. You always see that new guy who's seen every, every extreme, back from the 90s.
And it's like, where have you been all these years? Why haven't you came in and tried to? That's you. Get in there and try to.
Yeah.
It's not as intimidating as you might think.